travel out to celebrate. We live in a great community where we care about each other. Tonight we're here to celebrate something very, very special. Something that happened 20 years ago this year that brought this community together. Something that still lives on in the hearts and minds of those who lived those events. And something that will live on forever through windows that God has provided us with that we simply call memories. We're here tonight for a football game, and that's appropriate because nobody loves football better than the men we're honoring this evening. Those men, of course, were the players and coaches of the 2004 Kilgore High School Bulldogs, and also every single student, trainer, single cheerleader, band member, high stepper, friend, parent, grandparent, family member, teacher, and member of the community that supported that team. We say that because the 2004 Raging Red, we were family. The tone was set the season before when the 03 Bulldogs went 12-2, lost a tight game in Tyler to Highland Park. It was a bitter playoff exit, but as it turned out, it was a motivating playoff exit. Kilgore went 16-0 in that 2004 season, not a single solitary loss. From a hot August trip to Greenville, all the way to the double overtime December finale against Dallas Lincoln. The Bulldogs were 3-0 in their non-district schedule, 7-0 in district play, and of course, 6-0 in the playoffs. In all, they scored 501 points, an average of 31.3 points a game, and allowed only 163 points for the entire season, an average of right at 10 points a game. The non-district slate wasn't an easy one. The injury bug hit the boys in the opener against Greenville. They still won on the road 49-10, and then took care of Atlanta 41-13 the next week. John Tyler went down the following week 7-6. Kilgore's lone touchdown, a kick return by Nick Sanders, and an all-important extra point by Rudy Galvan. Those two would have a pretty big role later, if you get my drift. The district schedule had plenty of familiar names: Nacogdoches, Marshall, Pine Tree, Hallsville, White House, Jacksonville, yes, at the Tomato Bowl, and yes, with the trains, and of course, Henderson. And every single solitary one of them went down to these Bulldogs, with Hallsville being the most stubborn. A safety by Cody Gatewood was the difference in the 9-7 contest. The two most memorable playoff games might have been the first two. First off at Waco ISD Stadium against Brenham. Brenham came out and punched Kilgore in the mouth early, going up 21-3 at halftime. In the second half, it was all Kilgore, and the 38-21 final. Asked by reporter Mitch Lucas about the game, what Coach Mike Vallery said in the locker room to cause the turnaround, Senator Bill Slagle simply said he didn't have to say a word. The following week, the Thunderstorm game played at Stephen F. Austin University in Nacogdoches, a game against Port Neches Grove that fans of both schools waited on for hours into the night. What fans didn't know was that game, had that game not started, a coin flip would have decided it. But when the game finally started, very, very late in a pouring rain, it was the Raging Red that decided it, finished it 41-0. Kilgore beat El Campo 18-0 in round 3, and then won a testy battle with Lamarck 26-21, before outlasting Denby the Diesel and Pflugerville Conley 10-7 to reach the state championship game. That game was played December 18, 2004 at Floyd Casey Stadium on Baylor University's campus on a beautiful day for football. A beautiful day, period. Unless you were for Lincoln, as it turned out. Lincoln quarterback Byron Eaton showed up, folks. He gave Kilgore's defense all we could handle for 4 quarters. But Kilgore's passing game, led by quarterback Chase Fisher, Courtney Thomas, and a running game led by Keith Gilliam and that offensive line, allowed the Bulldogs to do what they always did, have a chance to win in the end. With the score tied in double overtime, Lincoln kicker Salvador Morales lined up to try a 42-yard field goal that would win the game. The weight of the Dallas Metroplex was pressing on his shoulders. Lincoln was trying to claim Dallas's first state title since 1950. They wouldn't do it. Fate stepped in. Fate's name that day was Nick Sanders. Sanders raced off the edge like a runaway train, blocked the kick. Getting some good fortune, it hopped off the Floyd Casey turf right into his hands. Sanders began racing toward the end zone. Teammates behind him in unison, racing into history. The game-winning touchdown to give the Bulldogs the 33-27 double overtime win and the Class 4A Division II state championships. Sanders still running today in our hearts. We want to acknowledge the Bulldogs from the 2014 who are no longer with us. Trace Sands, Matt Morris, DeAndre Rossum, and Casey Whitmer. They are Bulldogs forever in our hearts. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the 2004 state championship Raging Red Bulldogs.